Good evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we are here on the 1011. And with my special co-host for the night, we have Chris, the comic vet. Chris, how you doing?
Good, Gary. Thanks for having me, my man.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, man. It's a pleasure to actually have you on as a co-host. That's, I think, our second stream together.
Yeah, it's a really just wait on your channel or like in general.
In general, I think on Slab Hub.
Yeah, we've been on lots of stuff together before.
Maybe not. Yeah, we might have been on a celebration stream or two, or on one person's channel or another. Adrian, you are the man of the hour tonight. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I am doing good. I actually ended up not having work today. I had the day off. So I did my favorite thing, and which was sleep. I slept a lot today. Panda's got to get his rest in,
Right. Hey, the older you get, the more rest you need.
I know, right? And I feel it too. I feel my age. It's starting to come up. So
now, for those of you watching this evening, what is the 1011? The 1011 is our guest brings 10 books. It doesn't have to be their top 10 in their collection, just 10 books in their collection that mean something to them. What they'll do is show us the book. They'll give us a little rundown on why it's one of their top 10. And then on the 11th book, they're going to tell us an extended story with that book and something that really connects them to it. And then one spec pick. So without further ado, Adrian, give a quick introduction of yourself for anyone watching on the rewind. All his stuff, links are in the description below. Chris was a last minute fill-in. I will go back and edit Chris's information in so you guys can follow him and sub him up as well. And but Adrian, a quick synopsis for yourself, sir, and then we'll get into it.
All right. My name is Adrian. I go by Panda or Pandawesome 316. What I do on my channel is I do a whole bunch of unboxings, CGC unboxings, haul unboxings. And I usually do a Sunday mail call and hangout where all I do is just hang out before Mark from Legion of Comics. He has an At Week's End show where Chris is actually a regular on there. So I like to tailgate before that. And I go on a couple hours, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours beforehand. And then everybody from my show goes on to hang out over at Mark's channel afterwards. But that's pretty much what I do. Just hang out, chill, just hang out with everybody, really.
Nice. So let's get right into it, Adrian. What's your first book that you want to show us this evening? And Chris, any questions you may have, feel free to butt in at any point in time.
Terrific.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the first one is actually one that I had just gotten, and it is a 9.9 Last Ronin 616 and Simple Man Comics exclusive. And the reason why this one is so special to me is because this was actually a cover homage to, or not homage, but a cover tribute to my friend, the comic Jabroni, who, if you guys can see right on there, it says R.I.P. Jabroni.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a huge TMNT person, actually somebody that really got me into really showing my love for the Turtles, because, back then it was just like everybody's all about Keys and Spider-Man and Batman. And I was just like, I like the Turtles and Power Rangers. And, I found a little niche of people, but like he was really out there with his Turtles. And so, I started talking to him on Instagram and got to know the guy really well. And we talked back and forth. I would be in his show, talking in the chats, because at that time I didn't have any YouTube. All I had was Instagram. And so that's how he knew me, was through my Instagram and not through YouTube. And so when I started YouTube and doing all that stuff, and, the guy is just, man, he was very explosive personality, not in terms of violence or anything like that, but like just the way that he presented himself was just a very, very jovial personality. And he loved the Turtles. And that was one of the things. And he sadly passed and so he actually didn't get to see The Last Ronin come out. So to have a number one be devoted to him, that was really cool.
Very
One of the things,
classy.
the one thing
Yeah.
I can say about the jabroni is just before I entered this YouTube world and started to recognize different guys and girls and follow their channels, and going back and checking out a lot of his stuff, the one thing I can say about the comic jabroni, like I said, he passed away just before I got into this. It may even been the same week. The man was a Turtles encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Like,
yeah.
and that's
Any turtle questions I had, I asked him. Like that's how much knowledge he had about TMNT.
yeah, he just like in the
Had a
original
passion.
stuff, and then the Archie, and then now on
Mhm.
to, the different companies that carry the Turtles through the years. Like just going back and watching his stuff and responding to chats. My God, that's the only word I can use to describe the jabroni is he was a turtle encyclopedia.
Oh yes, absolutely. Definitely got a lot of my like he really took me out of my shell, honestly. You know what I mean? Like he really got me comfortable to tell people, hey, you already wear the turtle shirts. You're already telling people you like turtles. Why not just say it out loud? And if you're starting YouTube, why not just say it on YouTube? And I was just like, you know what? Why don't I? Why can't I be that guy?
Right. Embrace
Just
your
because.
fandom.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just really embraced the fandom and just really started telling everybody. And now it's been like on overload. Like my wife knew that I was really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but she just had no idea until, I just really let it all out.
Well, and I think you two opened that up for everybody because all of us who
Yeah.
read comics, you basically just kept it to yourself and enjoyed your hobby, but you had no one to talk to about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
YouTube changed that.
It
Now you
was
have
very
people to
hush
talk to
hush.
about something
Mhm.
that you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. So that actually brings us to the next one is another Turtles, but this is TMNT. This is the IDW number one of Shredder in Hell, but this is actually signed by Kevin Eastman.
Very nice.
Terrific.
And the reason why this one means a lot to me is because Austin LeMay actually A-okayed it to me. And actually, this is around the time that I started building my TMNT collection. So here's a little something to help build the TMNT collection, Austin. So before he started doing all this stuff, and we were talking on Instagram, and we had a fellow, or we had a fellowship in Two Brothers, and then onto Burke's channel. And so we, me and him, we started talking back and forth and everything like that. And then we really got into this huge friendship about that Spider-Man booth, because I was going after a grail and he was going after a grail, and he ended up winning the grail that I was going for, and I ended up winning the grail he was going for on that Spider-Man booth. So we actually ended up doing a little exchange. I didn't end up getting that grail, but I ended up getting a whole bunch of other things, but he ended up getting the grail. And so that's really something that solidified our friendship. And he sent me something to help me build my TMNT collection. So that's one that I'm hoping to send to CBCS to get that signature verified. And I don't know, man, it's just
It's a
awesome to
beauty.
have that in my collection.
And as someone who sent a bunch of books off to CBCS to get signature verified, you'll love it. I don't
Oh,
know
really?
how many CBCS you have, but that slab is thick, it's tough, and it looks dynamite.
Yeah, I've got two, and they are, I can't say enough good things about CBCS slabs. Just the aesthetic. That's like the biggest thing is the aesthetic. And, as you can see on my wall, I've got nothing but CGC, and that's because I like how clean the label looks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too much of a big fan of their cases, as I don't know. It's just, compared to the CBCS case.
But just to touch on that book, it just goes to show how wonderful and embracing this community is via YouTube and Instagram. Just again, it's like we've just mentioned a few moments ago that if you're into comic books, okay, but you don't necessarily share that with those that are around you in your everyday life, kind of thing, or your friends or outside your immediate family. It's almost like it's hush hush kind of thing. But I get the pop culture has really changed in the last 15, 20 years due to
Oh,
the
yeah.
movies. But when you come into this community, everyone's just so embracing, and to get a signed Eastman, especially for an important series is Shredder in Hell, is just, it just goes to show what kind of guy Austin is. And like, I was witness and heard this story a couple times about you and Austin and that big trade you guys. That's what I was going like this. That trade was incredible.
And how fortunate that you guys both knew each other and each won something to trade the other is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny how that ended up happening, because like that whole exchange, like I ended up getting like a really good friend out of it, and I ended up pissing my wife at the same time, just because when I started going after that Spider-Man booth, I ended up buying like 10 boxes. And so they all showed up all in the same day, and that's what really got me in trouble. Yeah,
that's a lot of coin.
Well, you think about it, you're like, okay, that Spider-Man booth hasn't shown up. It takes like how many ever weeks, and so every week I was inside their Monday live show or whatever, getting free stuff. The free stuff was coming before the books, and so it was just like, I got addicted to it. I was just like, oh, I want free stuff. I like free. And they were just, a couple books here and there. Like the biggest book that I got out of a free book from that Spider-Man booth, just being inside their live show, was a ASM 361 second print. And that thing was like $100 some odd at the time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, oh, that's amazing. I got this $100 book for free. And then they all showed up all in one day, and I was just like, "Oh, this is not good. I don't know how to explain this. Like, how do I say I got 10 boxes for free? No, that doesn't ever happen." So I just had to bite it at that time. And a couple weeks later, the grand prize showed up. So I told my wife, and she was like, "Oh, okay. So now we can recoup the money." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Love you.
Right?
She's still.
This is what I bought them for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when she heard that I made the trade, she was not all too happy about all that, but that was all right. I made up for it.
Nice.
So this next book is actually a poster I've had on my wall as a kid. Yes. I never thought I would ever own this book because it was a poster on my wall. Like, for whatever reason in my head, I thought the posters of comics that I have on my wall are going to be so astronomically expensive. I'll never get it. That's why they're on my wall.
Right. They're untouchable.
And I ended up, and this book is not that whatsoever. You just have to try to find one. And I actually found this going through back issue bins at my LCS.
And it's a great classic cover.
Yes.
And a
old team versus the new team. And it's a newsstand. I think they all came newsstand around this time, though. But man, this is such a classic cover. And what's it called? I ended up getting it for less than $100. I think it was like 75, maybe 80, something like that. Now, I can't remember.
Is that a price tag variant? I thought that was. I thought that book
that too, because
I thought that book naturally came at 35 cents or a 35-cent Flash Star. I don't know if I've ever seen a yellow 25-cent price point on it.
Oh, I have no idea. You know what? I'll have to research this a little more.
Let me take a look right now.
Roger is in our chat. I wonder if he knows. Roger, is that the regular price tag on that book?
What's that issue number again?
100.
Okay. I don't know why I was thinking 101. Yeah, it looks like all the images that I'm looking at here all say
here it is.
Have that 25 cent.
Roger says that is the regular.
Okay.
But Roger has the 30-cent price variant. So he's throwing a little shade at you, Adrian.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Hey, 30 cent, 25 cent, as long as I have this cover in my PC, that's all I care.
Clean, you know, Adrian. I mean? That is a clean copy.
Yeah. It's got a couple of spine ticks here and there, but it's my
that's
copy.
An old
you know
book.
What I mean? Yeah, this is This is definitely an older book. And like I said, this was a poster I had on my wall as a kid, just thinking that I would never get this. And, here I am today. I got it.
Nice.
Okay, so this next one, Mark, you'd be proud, man. This is a John Jiang. This is that Street Fighter #1. This is the Virgin variant. There was only 400 copies, and I got this from Carnivore Comics. This is such a clean copy. I'm actually going to see John Jiang in person, and so that's the reason why I wanted to put this up, was because I plan on getting him to sign this copy.
Yeah, that would look beautiful slabbed.
Oh yes, and I'm hoping to get it sent as soon as he gets it signed. But man, I've always been a fan of Street Fighter.
I have no covers of that artist.
Really?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to change that.
Akuma.
Akuma
That's it. Thank you.
so
I couldn't remember his name.
That cover, the Optimus Prime cover, the Nice House on the Lake covers. He's that man's a rocket. He's on his way to superstardom.
He's a DC artist, right?
No, actually,
he's freelance.
He does everything.
Yeah,
he's a freelance. Yeah.
I just haven't been lucky enough to run across something I'm collecting where I ended up with one in the PC then.
If he ever does a Red Sonja, man, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Most of his stuff I find are store exclusive or online store exclusives. It's not very often his stuff hits the the normal shelf.
Right. So he's like a Tyler Kirkham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He does a lot of store exclusives. I've noticed, but man, they are bangers, and I don't even know how Mark finds them all. Like, because there's not just one certain, Unknown Comics or Big Time Collectibles or 616 Comics. Like, he's everywhere.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's good the way that he's churning them out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Seem to be tied down. He doesn't seem to have an exclusive with an exclusive store. He just
right. It's good to be like an exclusive, like variant cover artist where you just do all these where you're just signed out to all these different companies.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool too, just because like he's able to do so many genres. Like he did Nice House on the Lake to Street Fighter to a Star Wars book that had the bunny on it or whatever,
right,
to ICP. He did he's doing a cover for Insane Clown Posse.
I was going to ask you if it was the same ICP that I thought, and it is. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So that's a John Jiang.
Because they're an older group now. I'm like, how many people are going to know them?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what you got next there, buddy?
Okay, so this next one I actually got as an AOK from my friend Nick's Kicks and Comics. You guys may know him. You see him on the Usual Suspects. Heard of him.
I like his haircut.
This is Captain America #4. And the reason why he AOK'd me this is because that girl that is in that Captain America outfit, that is Ariel Agbayani. She is the first Filipino American superhero.
Oh,
and I'm Filipino American, so
nice.
Yep. The United States of Captain America is actually one of the better miniseries that Marvel put out in the last 8 to 10 months. Basically, Cap has his shield stolen. Him and Sam go across the United States trying to find the shield. And what they discover is every pocket community throughout the United States has someone dressing up like Captain America to do everything proper to help their community. And each different issue spotlights a different person who's picking up the shield for their community. And that one, I think, is actually probably the best one. That one and the Native American one as well. Just two terrific stories. Yeah.
The issue before this was the Native American one. His was a really good story.
Yeah.
Hers was interesting because not only was she Filipino American, but she's also going through college. And so she's actually, I can't remember what the name of hers is. It's something having to do with college or something like that, because she's in college at the time. And so I thought that was a really interesting, but yeah, the whole series is really cool. But okay, so the next one I also got as an AOK, but it came as a RA AOK. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
No.
But this is a random act or random occurrence or something like that, an AOK, act of kindness. So I actually still have no idea who AOK'd me this, and I think the whole premise was whoever does the RAAOK,
Also,
random anonymous act of kindness, right?
Wow.
So you actually don't know who it's from, but man, this looks so clean. This is a TMNT Adventures. This collects the first 3 Archie stories. So this is actually pretty cool. And it's just
fun
something
cover
that,
too.
yeah,
Nice and bright.
absolutely. Nice bright cover, and it looks like it's been pressed, or it just looks that clean. You know what I mean?
So
And to receive something like this, and somebody trying not to take what's it called, credit for it, man, that's just amazing. And so somebody thought of me and thought to give this to me, so that's why this one is up there, and that's awesome.
Wow.
now,
So you
as
still
a
have no
Turtles
idea?
fan, you got to tell me what your
Yes.
favorite Turtles movie is.
Oh, the 1990s movie. That's for sure. The Jim Henson, the darkest out of all the movies.
Ernie Reyes
Man.
Jr. in one of the costumes.
Oh, he
Corey
was in the
Feldman
Donatello
voicing?
costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that Corey Feldman was the voice of. Yeah. So that was Ernie Reyes Jr. In his dad also did the choreography. So Ernie Reyes Sr., he was in there too, doing some of the choreography, because they had a contract with Golden Harvest. And so Golden Harvest doing a lot of the Jackie Chan films and stuff like that, and a lot of the Across the Seas films that we saw in the 90s. And so,
And people look at those films, and sometimes they pick on the suited up people but that before CGI and all that. And I'm not banging on CGI because it's almost in everything we watch now. You don't even know it. It's that good. But there's a kind, like Ray Harryhausen, like people in the suits. There's a kind of magic in fantasy and a part of you that makes believe that you can't capture with other things now.
yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. Like, that's why I think there's something spectacular to all the cosplayers that do stuff like Iron Man and actually make the gadgets work within the arms and actuate and everything like that and turn over. And I think there's just some mysticism to actually seeing it live than seeing it CGI and made up. You know what I mean? Yes.
I love the rundown.
The rundown. He
They're
was so cool.
angry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. There's no way I could have done this list without having at least one of Todd McFarlane's art on here. And Wolverine being one of my favorite characters. Oh, Surf Ninjas, another good classic. Here's a cover that I ended up having to sell because I was needing some money back in the day. And so I was able to sell this book, and I knew I was going to have it back, have it back in my collection. I just didn't know when, and man, opportunity presented itself, and I was able to make a deal with my friend, Do You Have Beans? Corey. So I was able to get this copy. Can't wait to send this into CGC sometime.
Yep.
And that's a hard one with the blue in the background to get in good shape. It's like a red or an orange. It's just tough.
Yeah. And this one's
also,
sitting
I think
at
one of his more clever covers with the reflection.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It continues to spawn homages to this very week. They're still coming out. That's a good Canadian kid on the front, though. I like it. That's good.
That's a nice little
boy right there. Good Canadian boy.
Yeah. Good old Wolverine. So this next one, man, I got this in one of those raffles, and this was a wraparound cover. This is Raphael #1. This is actually the second print. So this is a regular size comic and not the big size TMNT Treasury almost.
I've actually never seen that reprint cover.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is that I was able to get one of those clear backing boards because this is a cool wraparound cover.
Oh, very nice.
Where you can see that there's some bad guys sneaking up on Raph and Casey Jones who think they're about to sneak up on somebody else.
And I
But
love
look
the
how
blue in
heavily
that.
armed Casey Jones is, just unnecessarily armed.
Look at the
look at
arms.
Raphael. Raphael's just got one Uzi, while
Right?
Casey Jones is just
You
just
know, a
Rambo
very
style.
young Sylvester Stallone would have been good for Casey Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
All Ramboed out,
Yeah.
And the mullet,
Wolfgang cast him right there.
right?
the mullet coming off the mask. Oh, you gotta love that. That's 80s right there.
Never go full mullet.
Speaking of wraparound covers, this is not a wraparound cover, but one that I love the back cover to.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
John
much so,
Buscema.
I love this cover, but man, that cover on the back by John Byrne. Oh my god, are you kidding me?
And
Gotta love that.
That's a book made for a slab.
Yes, exactly. And this is one that I had the clear backing boards on once again. But man, I could only think of two other comics that I could have had in these clear backing boards, and these were the two that I was thinking of. Because man, you can't have this cover without looking at that back cover.
Yeah.
That John Byrne Wolverine. There's something classic about it.
John Byrne could draw anybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big
Absolutely.
Wolverine guy, but I've always loved that cover because I'm a huge John Buscema fan, which comes from me liking Conan so much, even though that's just a small sampling of his work.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks that you're not that huge of a Wolverine fan, because this is
I
one
don't
of my
hate him,
love
that's
it.
just not my favorite.
That is.
I get it. But no, this is actually, I've said this before. This is the cover that actually made me want to actually look at who is the artist. And the artist on this is Jim Lee. And ever since this cover, I've been actually looking at, artists and saying, oh, who drew that or who drew that? And it's all because of this cover that I did so. And this is absolutely one of my favorite covers. I AOK'd this to Nick with a shirt that actually has this whole cover on it.
Wow.
Because I thought a Chinese 4X would fit my body, but a Chinese 4X is a regular American size XL. So,
Hold that back up for a sec, Panda. Now, I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories about Wolverine, and I often wondered if he got his skin ripped off in a battle, what would it look like if it happened to be the forearms? And Jim Lee was the first artist in the years that I've read Wolverine where I finally got to find out, and that's why that cover right there is my favorite fighting Wolverine cover. I know the last issue is probably, the one that everyone tries to gravitate towards because it's Omega's first appearance. But that cover right there, that is, in my opinion, by far the best Omega Red cover ever made, and probably the best fighting Wolverine cover ever made too. Now, I know Wolverine 1, which you just had up there, is a classic cover as well. But like I said, I've often wondered, what was it like? What would it look like if they just started ripping stuff off? We saw that exoskeleton of adamantium, and that's where we finally got to see it. And Jim Lee did it.
Jim Lee definitely confirmed he is a Terminator underneath,
right?
Because, geez, man. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, Chris. This was, like I said, this is my favorite cover of all time because I believe this is the best fighting Wolverine cover we have. And I actually look out for this cover more than the first appearance of Omega Red. It's kind of like the same thing with like the first appearance of Bishop.
Right.
Which one do you usually gravitate towards? Or the first appearance of, I don't know. Gambit. Yeah. Gambit, So that was actually my 10 that I have. So I have my storied one.
All right, hit us with a good story, Panda. Let's hear it, buddy.
So this is another Canadian Wolverine. There you go. But this is Spider-Man and Wolverine. I don't remember if this is the actual comic or if this is a trade paperback or what. But this was actually the first thing that my grandfather had gotten me. And this is, I do believe, my very first comic. Back in the day, this is back when I lived in El Paso, Texas. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas, and my grandfather used to live with us And every morning he would go down to the 7-Eleven or the Circle K. I can't remember which one it was, but he would always buy a lottery ticket. And with the lottery ticket, he would always walk over there. I was always too young to go with him. And then one year, my mom was like, yeah, you can go ahead and go with your grandfather, whatever. So, me and Abu G, we went to the Circle K, and, I had gone there a couple times and I'd gotten candy. And then one day he was like, hey, do you want, a book? I don't know whether or not he thought it was a coloring book or whatever, but, he gave it to me and I ended up reading the whole thing. And at the time I'm just looking at pictures. I'm not really reading, because it was way before I could even read, but it was just one of those things that I remember to this day. And, whether or not this is the actual copy that I have, I made sure to go ahead and grab another copy. So I have 2 or 3 of these, but to know whether or not it's the actual copy that I got from my grandfather, I don't know, because I've bought this book like several times throughout the years growing up, because I hold that memory of my grandfather so much. And
as a kid, how could that not capture your attention?
Right,
the two faces of Marvel,
right,
especially in the 80s and the 90s. They were the biggest names, and
absolutely,
they didn't cross paths very often, let me tell you.
Yeah, and so this holds like a very special memory with me, because it was my first comic, and I mean, it was a special memory that I hold with my grandfather, because I remember all the times that we would go to the Circle K and I'd get a drink or, a candy bar or some, anything to make me fat is pretty much what I wanted to get. But this time I ended up getting a comic book, and it's just a memory that I have with my grandfather that I hold dear.
Do you ever think about how much fun he'd have now if he could see your YouTube channel and what getting you that first comic has led to? You know what I mean? He would go crazy. He'd love it.
I think so too. I think he would just see how passionate I am about the comics, and just the passion that is behind the comics. You know what I mean? Not only that, but the friendships that you forge and all that. And man, it's just amazing to see how much I've grown in this, and to think that, man, if my grandfather were here and to see all this, like, I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear, just knowing how much fun I'm having. Yeah.
I just think it all started with that book. It's amazing.
I know. And dude, like I said, I've got like 2 or 3 copies of this book. I remember buying one in high school from my friend's parents owned a comic book shop. And I remember getting this from their comic book shop, because I was like, oh, I remember that, I had that comic, I think I still have it. And somehow after college, I found the one that I bought in high school. And then I think I found the original, or just one that I had gotten again sometime. And so it was just like, well, the memory is there. And I know it's this book, but not this book. You know what I mean?
Right. So it doesn't matter as long as it transports you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Man, those brisk mornings. I remember stomping on scorpions on my way to the Circle K. Oh man. Yeah, dude, it was El Paso,
we had different
Texas.
upbringings.
There was nothing but dry desert everywhere. And so that was the things that we would do in the morning, is we'd have to shake our shoes out just to make sure there's no scorpions in them before we put our shoes on.
Yeah.
Like, that's how prevalent they were.
We had to shake the snow off our boots, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite as scary.
Yeah.
Right? Not quite as scary. Scorpion Massacre, yes.
Yeah, I remember when I lived in Georgia for a little bit, and and I was writing. This is when you still wrote letters to your friends back home before all this email and stuff. And I'm writing a letter, and I look down, and there's a scorpion next to my foot. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't used to it, right? So I took the pencil I was writing with, and most of the scorpions are not very big. And I just lowered the pencil down, and I crushed its little head, and got rid of it.
Wow.
Wow. Did its tail curl while you
It
did
did.
that? Yeah, they do that a lot.
It was weird looking.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
So they're stingers,
Yeah, I know what they are. I was just like, this
Oh my
is just
gosh.
crazy. That's stuff I
Crazy
only see in
tangents.
movies.
Yeah. But that was life. I mean, people go through different things. People have to check for bears in the morning. Chris, I always thought that you would have to be one that would have to do that.
Check for
Inside my
bears.
head. That's all it is. It's just you've got
No.
nothing but snow and bears out there out in Canada.
Oh, yeah. I get from movies, right? I get it. No,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
grew up in Toronto, in the big cities. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's
Oh,
just,
you have cities. I forget.
Yeah,
forget.
yeah, we do have cities.
It's just not all tundras.
Quebec, Montreal,
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, there are a couple cities.
There's so many.
Yeah, just maple leaves with snow. That's all I see.
Winnipeg. Yeah.
Yeah, Winterpeg. Yeah.
And they have some great amusement parks over there. Like I've gone to La Ronde in Quebec many times. La Ronde's great, fun, and you can drink good Canadian beer while you're over there and have a blast.
I'll correct you. You kind of misspoke. Great Canadian beer, but yeah, okay. It's all right.
Oh, I love Canadian beer.
Yeah.
So Panda, what is your spec pick for the people watching tonight? What book is it that you think they should keep an eye on or character?
Well, we have found a theme towards the end here, and we got to keep it Canadian. And we're gonna go with Frank Miller's Wolverine
Nice.
#1. I got this graded. This came back in 9.2, so this is from my PC. So I'm looking to upgrade, but here pretty soon. But this is definitely one where I think you guys should definitely get onto it before they announce the actor that is going to play Wolverine, because we know the mutants are coming. It's been announced. They're saying it. They're already getting shows geared up so this way we can get used to the mutants again. They're relaunching X-Men 92, right? They're going to bring back the series and they're going to do all that. And Wolverine is one of the big franchise winners of the MCU of Marvel.
Yeah.
Now,
there
do you
for a
think we're
while
gonna
he was
get an Old Man Logan with Danny DeVito first?
no. I hope so. I honestly,
great story,
I really
though.
hope that they do something like that as like a throwaway cut scene where they're in some multiverse and it's Danny DeVito with that hair, a cigar, and I don't know, maybe like a wheel of
It
cheese
would
or
just
something.
be
I don't know.
so funny to see a spoof of him do it on SNL or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or like he's taking his claws and like cutting that wheel of cheese and just eating it. I don't know. Either way, I think this is a good spec because Hulk 181 may be unattainable for some people.
Yeah.
But Wolverine 1 is going to be the next one to go up in price because 181s are going to be out of reach for people once that announcement hits, right?
And not only that, but I mean, once Wolverine's reintroduced, and if you do him solo, why would you not make some movie posters that homage some of these classic comic covers?
Oh, yeah. And you
Amen.
can't tell me that a Frank Miller cover is not going to be a classic.
Right.
Yeah, and that one in particular.
This one in particular. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I love this cover. I ended up getting a TMNT t-shirt of Raphael, who's not even my favorite turtle, but because it homaged this cover, it had him doing that. Oh man. And with his size going through, oh, it was lovely. I loved it.
Yes, the
There you go.
fastball
Arnold
special.
Schwarzenegger Colossus doing the fastball special with Danny DeVito. Yep. Twins.
Oh, twins,
Twins
yes.
reunion. Yeah,
that-
Roger got
What is
that
the
for
one
$1.
anymore?
That's why he's trolling again, Roger. Trolling us all.
I can't
No,
disagree
man. So
with
what
that
do you
spec.
think? What do you think?
I
You
can't
think
disagree
as
with
soon
that
as
spec. No, I think a 9.8 is I believe it's
The
almost it's a
desirable.
4-figure book or close to it at this
Mhm.
point. But yeah, there is still I believe that's actually one of the most graded comics on the CGC census.
Other than ASM 300, right?
Right. It's up there. I know it was for the
Okay.
first 15 or first 10 years the CGC was in existence. That book was in its top 10 every year for most submitted. But there's so
Right.
many different grades. Like if you just want to spend $100, you can go get a very desirable grade. And another good thing about that miniseries, all the covers are fire. Even the one where
Yeah.
Wolverine's head is down in darkness.
Oh,
They're all fire covers. You know, the diving one. Yeah.
That cover particularly, like the one where his head is down, like
Yeah.
you're telling a story with just the picture itself.
Right.
And man, you found a despondent Wolverine that is defeated, and you see it and you feel it in that cover. Like that miniseries was a great miniseries. Once again, Frank Miller killed it back then.
Yeah.
I mean, and I
Now-
say back then because
Claremont
I
and
mean,
Miller is just fantastic duo.
yeah,
Do you have a fan casting choice for Wolverine, Panda?
I do.
Yeah. All right.
So-
let's hear it.
I can't remember where I heard it from, but as soon as somebody said it, I cannot get him out of my head to see him as Wolverine. And that is Clint Eastwood's son,
Oh.
Scott Eastwood. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
that makes some sense.
yeah. And so there's a couple of movies. There's a Pacific Rim with him in there. There's a couple of movies where he just plays grunts here and there. I haven't seen any movies where he's the leading man, although I know there is like a rom-com movie that has him as a lead. But man, the structure, the build, like he reminds me of Hugh Jackman in that sense, and he's got like the facial features for a Wolverine.
He does.
And I need to see, and this is the thing, is that the reason why I was so drawn to that was that I look at the bottom half of his face, right? Because it's that RoboCop situation. Once you put him inside that mask, all you're going to see is this, and then maybe whited out eyes or whatever it is. But I need to have a Wolverine with the fucking mask. Like, that's all I ask. Like, just give me the Wolverine with the pointed mask. Give me the John Byrne Wolverine.
Favorite Wolverine
Give me that.
costume.
Yes. It doesn't matter which. Give me the yellow and brown. Give me the blue and yellow. Man. Give
I've
me
always
that
been
John
partial to
Byrne.
the yellow
Oh,
and brown.
The wife beater. Yeah.
yeah. The wife beater.
And he also had the X-Force one where he had
Yeah.
the black and silver.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that was
God.
nice.
Yes.
That was nice.
Yes. Give me those ones, man. Because we deserve a masked Wolverine, something that is going to be close to the comics. Like, just give it to me for like 45 seconds. I don't care. Just put him in a mask and then tear off the mask afterwards. I don't care. I just need to see him in the
We
mask.
do need a Wolverine in a mask finally.
Yes.
I mean, we got that one tease in the second Wolverine movie in the suitcase, and then they never followed
Yeah.
up with it. I was like, come
They
on,
never
we came
did.
so close.
And dude, I didn't even think, like, I thought like maybe they would have like called back to it, like in Old Man Logan, like where he's looking through his closet and then you see the suit on a hanger or something like that.
Right?
Oh, that would have been classic.
Did you ever see Flushed Away? It's
The
an
mouse
animation movie, stop motion
Okay.
animation. Hugh Jackman does the main character. Fun family movie, but the main character is a mouse, or a rat, which is Hugh Jackman. And when he's looking through his clothes in his closet, one of his outfits is the yellow in the original Wolverine costume.
Yellow and the blue.
The yellow and brown. Yes.
It's
Oh man.
it's right in the beginning, one of the little snippet, and everyone that's a comic person goes, "Oh, and, we know that."
I hope
those little Easter
if they ever introduce Wolverine into the MCU, I kind of hope that it's a post-credit scene of something that's coming in the very near future, where we kind of have the Hulk bouncing over mountain ranges. To know, as if you read the Hulk, you know that he bounces and he does these mile-high jumps and these multi-mile long leaps, and he just kind of lands in a mountain area like British Columbia, like the Pacific Northeast, something that and then he lands so hard, trees ripple and everything, and then the camera just pans back and the claws pop out. Like, we don't get to see him, we just see it pop. I tell you, every guy I don't care if he's 12 to 82. It's going to be like, oh no,
right?
He's
Yes.
finally here, and it's in the suit, But yeah,
But that too. And I just want to, I don't care if it's a 3-minute fight scene to open the movie. I got to see him fight the Wendigo.
Oh, yeah. Hulk, Wendigo, have those three trio in there. Just homage it for like 2-3 minutes. Just give me that. My God.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And then,
amazing.
In the post-credit scene, you bring in X-23.
Hey, she's grown up.
No, great stuff, Panda. That was awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for sharing those books.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man.
With the one with your grandfather, that was an amazing story.
Yeah.
And what a way to connect you to comics for life, right?
Right? He had no idea what he started.
So I'm going to go through. Chris, what have you got coming up on your channel, sir?
Well, actually, yesterday I just dropped a brand new tour video of the Toronto Comic Con. The Toronto Comic Con is the spring version of the granddaddy of the Canadian Comic Con's Fan Expo. They do 2 smaller cons a year outside of the big one. One is at the tail end of March break, and the other one is just before Christmas. I wonder why they do it that way. But I did a big walking tour, went down to that con. There's a lot of cool things to check out. If anyone's got a little bit of time to join me on a journey through that con, through downtown Toronto. Tomorrow night, I have an open invitation live hangout celebrating New Comic Book Day. And this Thursday, I'll be opening up a handful of Marvel 3 blind packs or blind 3 packs. And they've been a lot of fun, let me tell you. They finally made their way north of the border. I know that they were prevalent throughout the United States for a while, but they finally made it here, and they've lasted about 2 weeks. Now they're sold out everywhere. So the secret's out, I guess, here in Canada.
Dang.
And
Binsan.
And I would
it's hard to find them here, Chris, because like here in Rochester, at least, there's at least one comic shop guy that goes around and will buy them by the shopping cart and then break them open and resell them in the shop. So we don't go do business.
I'm good for a few weeks worth of content with them.
Right? Nice. But they sell out quick here, so it's hard to find them.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say this Saturday on Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics, you could join myself and that happy host for Slab Hub. It's 2:30 Eastern and something or other times and time zones. I'm not sure. But
right. Figure it out when you see your YouTube.
Tune in for Slab Hub. It's I believe this week is going to be Beckerman, and I'm sure there's going to be some original art that he's going to be showing that it's slabbed up. Fingers crossed. And there might be some speedball appearances as well, knowing Mike. But that's what's coming up with me. But thank you, Gary.
Oh, no problem. So coming up, guys, in the future, this isn't Adrian's only appearance on this channel. He is already booked as a future guest for In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects. So if you thought this was fun, we're going to get to talk to him a whole lot more, get some more in-depth stories from him, and learn a little bit more about him. It's going to be a really fun time. And I know I was super excited to talk to you. We're both on YouTube a lot. I think we're on a lot at the different times. You and I don't get to cross paths a lot. So this was a really fun time for me to have you on the show and just get to know you a little bit more. So I want to thank you for coming on. It was absolutely my honor to have you on the program tonight.
Oh man, you have no idea how much I've been looking forward to being on your channel. You know,
I'm an old nobody. So
Stop it.
Man, I've been looking forward. And when you said, hey, I got an open spot, I jumped so quick. I was like, yes, I will get on there earlier than April.
Right. Well, it's amazing because you never think, I don't know, at least with me, you have your shows on your channel and you think, no one's going to want to be on. And next thing you know, you're booked for like 2 months out. And then you're like, all right, I got to slow down because I'm going to lose track if and I keep it all on my phone, but if the phone goes, I'm done.
Yeah.
Semi-retirement.
Right? But no, I want to thank everyone that tuned in tonight and joined us. I had an absolute blast. Chris, I want to thank you too for co-hosting. The first time I've had you as a co-host, and it was great. I hope you will come back in the future as well.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And great time tonight. Adrian, before we sign off, what's coming up for you, and any last words for the audience?
So Thursday I do a comic book review show with Burke from Burke Family 54 Comics. I'm on there with Legion of Comics, Mark, and Dave from Mark Spector Comics. We usually just pick around 3 or 4 books to review. Lately, we haven't been reviewing any books and just talking whatever. So it's just been a really good hangout. And if we get to the book, then we get to the book. But usually everything is capped off at the end, at week's end anyways, with Mark and Chris and Ryan. So, sometimes we just go ahead and try not to double dip and just go ahead and hear about all the books on Sunday and just talk regularly on Thursday. And then on Friday, I will be in the mix with DJ Links for the epic rap battle. I don't know if I should be saying anything, but I'll be on there in some way, form, or capacity. So,
did you want to talk any junk before the show?
Very exciting.
Well, I don't know if I can Tom Holland anything right now, but but yeah, that was on Friday. I work on Saturday, and then Sunday I am doing a Sunday mail call and hangout once again. Hopefully by then I'll have the mystery boxes from Burke, so I'll probably be opening those up on Sunday. And the hangout is just an open invitation for anybody that is out there. I used to have people, being on guests, but it was getting to be the same way. It was like, oh, now I'm like booked up 2 months, and like people keep asking if they can be on. So it was just like, you know what, rather than bring on one person, let's just call it a hangout. And let's just bring everybody in. If they want to be in on that day, do it. Chris, I know you do it on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
With your show. It's a fun thing. You never know who's going to show up. So it's just awesome to get to hang out with people that are watching you and have a similar interest as you as well. So
I gotta stop working so much so I can actually jump on some of your guys' stuff.
Right?
I get all these notifications all the time when I'm at work. Going live. I'm like, I get all salty because I have to go out and direct people. I'm like,
yep. I used to be the same way, but you know what I did? I quit that job.
Yeah.
Now I have a day shift job. Now I can do this.
Well, my shift starts at 6 a.m. It's just a question of when I get out, and then when I get home about making food for the. I got an 11-year-old. He gets hungry. I learned you got to feed them. So
it's true.
I've got 4 of them. True. Somebody feeds somebody around here, so I'm
right. And they don't stop eating ever.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Oh, this is also true.
Adrian, once again, sir, thank you so much. My absolute pleasure. Chris, also my absolute pleasure to have you on as co-host. Thank you, gents. It was a great evening. And chat, thank you everyone in chat. We had a great time. For those of you catching on the rewind, I hope you had as much fun as we have had making this episode and you're watching it. So until next time, guys, keep it casual, keep collecting.